Damien forced his black ex-girlfriend Naomi to her knees in the middle of Lotta World Mall, demanding she apologize and beg for leaving him 2 years ago. Completely unaware she was now married to Park Jae-sung, Seoul's underground king, who was watching the entire assault from the security office upstairs. Within 10 minutes, Jae-sung would walk through those doors with 6 armed men, slam Damien against a wall by his throat, and systematically destroy his entire life. His job, his trust fund, his new girlfriend, his reputation. All while Damien realized too late that the worthless woman he'd abused and controlled had become untouchable. But in this moment, with Naomi's palms scraped and bleeding on the marble floor, Damien still thought he'd won. Before we dive deeper into this story of love, justice, and redemption, I want to thank you for being here. Your support means everything to me. Now, do me a favor by subscribing to the channel and turning on notifications so you never miss a story. Now, let's get into this dramatic journey. That morning, 7:15 a.m. Naomi stood in front of their bathroom mirror, fastening a delicate gold necklace Jae-sung had given her for their 6-month anniversary. The penthouse suite's floor-to-ceiling windows framed Seoul's skyline behind her, the winter morning sun casting long shadows across imported marble floors. "You're wearing that one," Jae-sung said from the doorway, already dressed in a charcoal 3-piece suit that probably cost more than her old monthly rent. He was breathtaking, sharp jawline, dark eyes that could freeze someone with a glance, or melt her with tenderness, presence that commanded attention even in private. "Wearing what?" She turned, adjusting her simple black turtleneck and jeans. "The necklace I gave you. Not the expensive diamond set." He crossed to her, his hand sliding around her waist from behind, chin resting on her shoulder as he met her eyes in the mirror. "You always choose the simplest things," she smiled. "I like meaningful over expensive. I like giving you both." He kissed her neck, sending shivers down her spine. "Humor me. Let me spoil you. You spoil me every day just by loving me." She turned in his arms, cupping his face. "That's worth more than anything money can buy." His expression softened in that way it only did for her, the underground king disappearing, leaving only the man who'd somehow seen her worth when she couldn't see it herself. "You're going shopping today?" "Just browsing at Lotta World Mall. Maybe pick up a few things." "I won't be long." Something flickered in his eyes. Jae-sung was protective to an obsessive degree, a fact she both loved and occasionally found suffocating. "Take Minho and Taehyun with you." "Baby, I don't need bodyguards for shopping." His jaw tightened, that steel entering his voice. "Naomi, you know what I am, what I do, the enemies that creates. You don't leave without security. Non-negotiable." She recognized that tone. Park Jae-sung, underground king of Seoul, giving an order, not requesting, commanding. She kissed him softly. "Okay, I'll take them." The tension left his shoulders immediately. "Thank you." He checked his watch. Understated platinum, devastatingly expensive. "I have a meeting in Gangnam. Should be done by 3. We have dinner reservations at 7. "Where?" That dangerous smile curved his lips. "It's a surprise. Wear the burgundy dress. The one that makes me lose my mind." Heat flooded her cheeks even as she laughed. "You're impossible. Only for you." One more kiss, deep and possessive, before he left her breathless against the bathroom counter. 2 hours later, Lotte World Mall. Naomi walked through the Lotte World Mall's luxury corridor with Minho and Taehyun maintaining a discreet 10-meter distance. The mall was a temple of wealth. Designer stores glittering like jewels, Christmas decorations dripping from vaulted ceilings, shoppers draped in labels that cost more than cars. She'd just exited a boutique, bags in hand, when she saw him. Damien, her ex-boyfriend. The man who'd controlled every aspect of her life for 2 years. The man who'd taken her money, crushed her spirit, made her believe she was worthless. The man she'd fled from in the middle of the night 18 months ago with nothing but a suitcase and her passport. He was leaning against a Burberry display, laughing with a young woman who looked barely 21, his hand possessive on her waist. He looked exactly the same arrogant smile, same expensive clothes funded by manipulation, same predatory energy. Naomi's bag slipped from her hands, hitting the floor with a soft thud. Her heart hammered against her ribs. 18 months of healing, of therapy, of rebuilding herself from the ground up, and seeing him brought it all crashing back. The fear, the shame, the voice in her head that still sometimes whispered his words. You're nothing without me. Nobody else would want it. You're lucky I even tolerate you. She should turn around, walk away, pretend she hadn't seen him. But her feet were rooted to the marble floor, and then Damien looked up. Their eyes met. For a moment, nothing. Then recognition flashed across his face, followed by shock. Then something uglier. That look he used to give her when she disappointed him. He whispered something to the young woman, then started walking toward Naomi with that familiar predatory stride. Every instinct screamed at her to run, but she was frozen, watching him approach like a deer caught in headlights. Well, Damien drawled as he stopped 3 feet away, hands in his pockets, looking her up and down with open contempt. Naomi Hart, or did you change your name again to hide from more people? She found her voice, though it shook. Damien, I have nothing to say to you. Nothing to say? He laughed, loud enough to draw attention. After you ran away like a coward? After you stole from me? Stole? From you? Anger sparked through the fear. You took every paycheck I ever earned. You drained my savings. I invested your money, he interrupted, stepping closer. And you were too stupid to understand business, too emotional, too weak to handle adult conversations. Naomi's hands trembled. Minho had moved closer, his hand inside his jacket. Taehyun was on his phone, likely calling Jae-sung. You need to leave me alone, Naomi said quietly. Or what? Damien's smile was cruel. You'll call the cops? Go ahead. Tell them how you abandoned me, stole my apartment key, and ran off to Korea like some desperate English teacher chasing fantasies. I left because you were abusing me. Abusing you? His voice rose. Abusing you? I gave you a place to live. I fed you. I put up with your constant neediness and incompetence. And this is how you repay me? By running away and making me look like the villain? The young woman he'd been with approached, linking her arm through his. Babe, who's this? Nobody, Damien said, not taking his eyes off Naomi. Just an ex who couldn't handle a real relationship. I couldn't handle abuse, Naomi corrected, her voice stronger now. There's a difference. You always were dramatic. Damien turned as if to leave, then stopped, looking back at her with deliberate cruelty. You know what? I'm glad you ran. You were dead weight anyway. I've got someone better now. Younger, prettier, less baggage. He said it loud enough for everyone nearby to hear. Naomi felt humiliation wash over her in waves, that old familiar shame clawing up her throat. Yeah, Damien continued, warming to his audience. You were always so pathetic, Naomi. Always crying about something, always needing reassurance. God, dating you was exhausting. Stop, Naomi whispered. Why? Can't handle the truth? He stepped closer, invading her space. You're nothing. You were nothing when I met you, and you're nothing now. That's why you had to run to another country, because nobody in the States could stand you either. Something in Naomi shattered and reformed in that moment. She'd spent 18 months in therapy learning her worth, learning that his words were poison, learning that she deserved better. And here he was, trying to inject that same poison back into her veins. You're wrong, she said quietly. Excuse me? You're wrong about me. Her voice was steadier now. I'm not nothing, I never was. You made me believe I was nothing because that's how you controlled me. But I'm free now. I'm happy. And you can't touch me anymore. Damien's face twisted with rage. Can't touch you. He grabbed her wrist, his grip bruising. You think running to Korea makes you untouchable? You think... Minho was there in an instant, wrenching Damien's hand off Naomi's wrist. Don't touch her. Damien shoved Minho back. Get your hands off me, you... What happened next was chaos. Damien lunged forward, trying to grab Naomi again. Minho intercepted, and in the scuffle, Damien's hand connected with Naomi's shoulder, hard enough to send her stumbling backward. But he didn't stop there. I said, Damien snarled, grabbing her by the hair, kneel! He forced her down, actually forced her to her knees on the marble floor, his hand fisted in her hair, his face twisted with rage and something darker. The need to dominate, to break her again, to prove he still had power over her. The heel of his shoe connected with the back of her knees when she tried to rise, and she collapsed fully, palms scraping the floor. Apologize, Damien hissed. Apologize for running away, for embarrassing me, for being ungrateful. The mall was dead silent now. 20 people stood frozen, phones out, recording. Security guards were running toward them. Minho and Taehyun were trying to get to her, but Damien's girlfriend was screaming, creating confusion. And Naomi, on her knees on the cold marble floor, felt something shift inside her. Not breaking. Not submission. Clarity. Because her phone was vibrating in her pocket. Because the security guards had body cameras. Because Minho's eyes weren't full of fear. They were full of cold certainty. The look of a man who knew backup was coming. And because Park Jae-sung was about to walk through those doors. Damien didn't know it yet. He was still demanding she beg, still drunk on the power of forcing her down, still convinced he'd won. He was about to discover just how catastrophically wrong he was. Naomi's trembling hand pulled her phone from her pocket. Jae-sung's name flashed on the screen. She answered. Naomi? His voice was deadly calm, which was somehow more terrifying than if he'd been shouting. Where are you? Lotte World Mall, she whispered. 3rd floor, luxury corridor. Are you hurt? Her voice cracked. He forced me to kneel, Who? It wasn't a question. It was a command carved from ice. Damien, my ex, from before Korea. Silence, then. Look at me. She glanced up. Through the glass corridor skylights, she could see the mall's security office above them. And in one of the windows, she saw him. Jae-sung, phone to his ear, staring down at the scene with an expression that made her blood run cold. He'd been here the entire time, in the building for a meeting. He'd seen everything. I'm coming down, he said quietly. Don't move. Don't say anything. Do you understand? Yes. The line went dead. Naomi looked up at Damien, still standing over her with that triumphant sneer, completely oblivious to the storm about to break. Good girl, Damien said mockingly. Finally remembering your place. Now apologize. Say you're sorry for being ungrateful. No, Naomi said clearly. His face darkened. What did you say? I said no. She started to rise, and this time when he moved to push her down, Minho caught his wrist in a grip that made Damien yelp. You touch her again, Minho said in perfect English, and you'll lose the hand. Let go of me, security. Damien tried to wrench free, looking around wildly. This man assaulted me. I want him arrested. Sir. One of the security guards approached cautiously. We have the entire incident on camera. You forced this woman to her knees. You put your hands on her. We need you to come with us. She's my girlfriend. I'm not your girlfriend, Naomi said, finally finding her footing, literally and figuratively. I left you 18 months ago. I'm married now. Damien's eyes went to her left hand, seeing the glove, seeing the outline of a ring beneath it. His face went white, then red with rage. Married? He laughed hysterically. To who? What desperate fool would want you? Me. The voice came from behind Damien. Deep, cold, absolutely lethal. Damien spun around and came face to face with Park Jae-sung. Jae-sung wasn't alone. 6 men flanked him, all in black suits, all wearing the same dead-eyed expression of professional killers. The crowd parted like water, people instinctively backing away from whatever this was. But it was Jae-sung himself who commanded the space. He stood there in his 3-piece suit, hands in his pockets, looking at Damien the way someone might look at an insect they were deciding whether to crush. Who the hell are you? Damien demanded, trying to sound tough but failing spectacularly. I'm the man who just watched you force my wife to her knees, Jae-sung said softly. I'm the man who's going to make you wish you'd never been born. He walked past Damien without touching him, moving straight to Naomi. His hands cupped her face with devastating gentleness, his eyes scanning her for injuries. Did he hurt you? Jae-sung asked in Korean, his voice softer now. I'm okay, she whispered back in Korean, just scared. You don't need to be scared anymore. He kissed her forehead, then switched back to English, his voice loud enough for everyone to hear. Take off your glove. Naomi pulled off her left glove. The massive diamond wedding ring glinted under the mall's lights, platinum band with a solitaire diamond that probably cost more than Damien made in 5 years. The crowd gasped. Damien's face went from red to ashen. Her name isn't Naomi Hart anymore, Jae-sung said, still not looking at Damien. It's Naomi Park, my wife. Do you understand what that means? Damien was speechless. Jae-sung finally turned to face him, and Naomi had never seen that expression on her husband's face before. Pure, controlled rage simmering beneath a veneer of civilization. Let me explain it to you, Jae-sung continued. My name is Park Jae-sung. In Seoul, that name means something. It means I own businesses, properties, people. It means when I make a phone call, things happen. People disappear. Problems get solved. He took a step toward Damien, who stumbled backward. And you, Jae-sung said softly, just created a problem. If you're enjoying this story so far, please hit that like button and subscribe to the channel for more compelling romance narratives. Drop a comment telling me what you think Jae-sung is about to do. Now, let's see what happens next. Security office. 10 minutes later, the mall security had ushered everyone into the executive office on the 4th floor. Naomi sat in a leather chair, an EMT checking her scraped palms and bruised knees. Tae-hyun stood guard at the door. Min-ho was in a separate room giving his statement. Damien and his girlfriend were in another room, their arguing voices occasionally piercing through the walls. And Jae-sung stood at the windows overlooking the mall, phone to his ear, speaking rapid Korean. She caught fragments. Full background check within the hour. I want everything. Financials, employment, family. No, don't wait for warrants. He hung up and crossed to her, crouching down so they were eye level. His hands covered hers gently. Tell me about him, Jae-sung said quietly. All of it. Naomi took a shaky breath. His name is Damien Cross. We dated for 2 years. He was charming at first, attentive, made me feel special. And then? Then he started controlling everything. What I wore, who I talked to, where I went. He took over my bank account to manage our finances better. Made me quit my job because he said my boss was flirting with me, isolated me from my friends and family. Jae-sung's jaw clenched, but he stayed silent. I tried to leave 3 times, she continued, her voice breaking. Each time he convinced me I was overreacting, that I was too sensitive, that no one else would want me. He never hit me, but he broke me in other ways. Made me believe I was worthless. How did you get away? 18 months ago, he went on a business trip. I packed 1 suitcase, took my passport, and bought a one-way ticket to Seoul. I had a teaching certification and $3,000 in cash I'd hidden. I applied for jobs online from LAX airport. Got hired by Seoul International Academy. Never looked back. Jae-sung's thumb traced her cheekbone. You saved yourself. I ran away. You survived. His eyes were intense. Do you know how much strength that took? To recognize you were in danger and take action? You saved your own life, Naomi. Tears spilled down her cheeks. I thought I was over it. Thought I'd healed. Healing isn't linear. He kissed her forehead. And facing your abuser is traumatizing. But you're not alone this time. I'm here. And I'm going to make sure he never comes near you again. What are you going to do? That dangerous smile. Have a conversation. Jae-sung, trust me. He stood, buttoning his suit jacket with controlled precision. This won't take long. He walked out, his men following. Naomi was left with a terrible certainty that Damian Cross was about to learn a lesson in consequences. Through the office windows, Naomi could see into the adjacent conference room, where Damian sat with his girlfriend, both looking defiant. Security. Guards lingered uncertainly. They knew who Park Jae-sung was. Everyone in Seoul's business community did, and they weren't about to interfere. The door opened. Jae-sung walked in alone, closing it behind him with a soft click. About time someone important showed up, Damian started aggressively. I want that woman arrested for harassment and… Jae-sung moved so fast Damian didn't see it coming. One moment he was sitting. The next, Jae-sung had him by the throat, lifted partially out of the chair, slammed against the wall hard enough to crack the plaster. Damian's feet scrambled for purchase. His face turned red, then purple. His girlfriend screamed. My name, Jae-sung said in that terrifyingly calm voice, is Park Jae-sung. The woman you forced to her knees is my wife. Do you understand what that means? He dropped Damian, who collapsed, gasping and coughing. It means, Jae-sung continued, you just made the worst mistake of your life. Damian tried to scramble away, but Jae-sung crouched down, grabbing his hair and forcing eye contact. Let me tell you who I am, Jae-sung said softly. I run Seoul's underground. I control territories, businesses, politicians. When I make a phone call, people disappear. When I decide someone is a problem, they stop being a problem. Do you understand? I didn't know. Damian whimpered. I swear I didn't know she was married. You think I'm angry because of a marriage certificate? Jae-sung laughed coldly. No. I'm angry because you abused the woman I love for 2 years. Because you broke her spirit. Because you isolated her. Controlled her. Made her believe she was worthless. Because today, in my city, you put your hands on her and forced her to her knees. He released Damian with disgust, standing up. That's what I'm angry about. I'm sorry. Damian was crying now. I'll apologize. I'll leave. I'll never… Your apologies mean nothing. Jae-sung pulled out his phone. Seungmin. Report. He put it on speaker. A voice came through in English, clearly for Damian's benefit. Damian Alexander Cross, age 34, currently employed at Crosstech Solutions as VP of Sales, a company owned by his father, Alexander Cross. Annual salary $180,000, trust fund worth approximately $800,000, currently dating Rebecca Lin, 22, student at NYU visiting Seoul, engagement pending. Jae-sung smiled. Interesting. Does your young girlfriend know you're an abuser? Rebecca had gone pale. What? Does your father know? Jae-sung continued, that you've been using company funds to finance personal expenses? Or that the business trip you're on right now is actually a vacation funded by embezzled money? Damian's eyes went wide. How do you… I know everything. Jae-sung pulled up his phone, showing him the screen. I have your bank records, your emails, your text messages. I know about the 3 other women you've financially abused. I know you're currently under internal investigation at your company. I know you've been lying to your girlfriend about your income and prospects. He turned to Rebecca. Did you know he was engaged to a woman he abused for 2 years? That he drained her savings and forced her to flee the country? Rebecca looked at Damien with horror. Is that true? Baby, no, she's lying. I have medical records, Jae-sung interrupted. Therapist notes. Police reports she filed but dropped out of fear. Would you like to see them? Rebecca stood up, backing away from Damien. You told me she was crazy, that she stalked you. That's what abusers always say, Jae-sung said. They make their victims look like the villains. Rebecca grabbed her purse. We're done. Don't ever contact me again. She stormed out, leaving Damien looking even more panicked. Please, Damien begged, don't ruin my life. I'll do anything. Anything? Jae-sung's smile was pure ice. Here's what's going to happen. By tonight, your father will receive a complete dossier of your embezzlement. By tomorrow morning, Rebecca's family will have documentation of your lies and abuse history. By tomorrow afternoon, the 3 other women you've abused will receive legal support to press charges. You can't. I can do anything I want. Jae-sung crouched down again. You said my wife was nothing, that she was worthless, that she was lucky to have you. He grabbed Damien's face, forcing him to look at the window where Naomi sat in the other room. Look at her, Jae-sung commanded. Really look at her. That woman survived you. She rebuilt her entire life in a foreign country. She learned a new language, built a career, found happiness. She's a teacher who changes lives every day. She's strong, brilliant, compassionate, everything you tried to destroy. Damien was sobbing. And now she's my wife, Jae-sung continued, protected, cherished, valued, everything she always deserved. So when you forced her to her knees today, you weren't dominating the broken woman you remember. You were attacking someone who belongs to me. He released Damien with disgust. Your life, as you know it, ends today. Your job, your relationship, your reputation, your money, all of it. And every time you lose something, every time you feel small and worthless and powerless, I want you to remember the woman you abused. I want you to remember that your destruction came because you were stupid enough to touch what's mine. Jae-sung stood, straightening his suit. Sung-min. One of his men appeared in the doorway. Take him to the airport. Put him on the next flight back to the States. If he ever enters Korea again, handle it permanently. Yes, sir. Damien tried to protest, but 2 more of Jae-sung's men hauled him to his feet and dragged him out. Jae-sung returned to Naomi. She stood when he entered, and without a word, he pulled her into his arms, holding her so tightly she could barely breathe. It's done, he whispered against her hair. What did you do? What needed to be done? He pulled back, cupping her face. He's going back to the States. Tonight. And by the time he lands, he won't have anything left. No job, no girlfriend, no money, no reputation. Everything he tried to do to you, I'm doing to him. She should feel guilty, should protest that it was too much. But looking into her husband's eyes, remembering everything Damien had taken from her, she felt only relief. Thank you, she whispered. Always. He kissed her forehead. Let's go home. He gathered her carefully as if she were made of glass and led her out of the mall. Behind them, Damien Cross's world was already crumbling, and Naomi let herself feel something she'd been too afraid to feel for 2 years. Vindicated. That evening, penthouse. The drive home was quiet. Jae-sung held her hand the entire time, his thumb tracing circles on her palm. When they arrived at the penthouse, he dismissed the staff and led her straight to their bedroom. Shower with me, he said softly. Under the hot water. He washed her hair with slow, gentle touches. He cleaned her scraped palms, pressed kisses to her bruised knees, held her while she cried out the last of the fear and trauma. I thought I was stronger, she whispered. Thought seeing him wouldn't affect me. You are strong. He tilted her face up. Strength isn't about never feeling fear, it's about facing it anyway. You survived 2 years of abuse, rebuilt yourself in a foreign country, and today, you stood up to him even though you were terrified. That's real strength. He still got to me. And you got through it. Jae-sung's eyes were fierce. You're here. With me. Safe. He's on a plane back to nothing. You won, Naomi. She let his words sink in. She had won. She'd survived. She'd built a life Damien couldn't touch. Found love he couldn't tarnish. They stood under the water until it ran cold, just holding each other. Later, dressed in comfortable clothes, they curled up on the couch overlooking Seoul's lights. Jae-sung had ordered her favorite food. American comfort food from a place in Itaewon that somehow made perfect mac and cheese and fried chicken. Eat, he encouraged. You need your strength. She managed a few bites. What happens now? Now you heal, Jae-sung said simply. And I make sure every woman he's ever hurt gets justice. You're really going after him? I already have. He showed her his phone. His father fired him 2 hours ago. Frozen his trust fund pending investigation. The women he abused are being contacted by the best lawyers in New York. Pro bono. Courtesy of an anonymous donor. Naomi stared at him. You did all that in a few hours? I made some calls. I have resources. He tucked a strand of hair behind her ear. Nobody hurts you and walks away, Naomi. Nobody. She believed him. 3 days later, Naomi woke to her phone exploding with notifications. Texts, calls, emails, DMs, hundreds of them. What's happening? She mumbled, reaching for the phone. Jae-sung was already awake, sitting up in bed with his laptop. He looked grim. The incident went viral, he said quietly. Someone posted the security footage. Naomi's stomach dropped. She opened Instagram. The top trending topic in Seoul was Lotte World Mall Incident. The video had 23 million views. The entire confrontation, Damien forcing her to her knees, Jae-sung arriving, the revelation of who he was, all of it captured in high-definition clarity. But worse, someone had created an exposé thread. Screenshots of her therapy records. How did they get those? Damien's history, the other women he'd abused, everything. Oh my God, Naomi whispered. I'm sorry, Jae-sung said. I tried to contain it, but once it hit social media, the whole world knows. The whole world knows you're a survivor, he corrected gently. Look at the comments. She forced herself to read them. She survived 2 years of that and rebuilt herself? Queen behavior. Her husband really said, choose violence, and I respect that. Damien Cross needs to be in jail. Period. The way Park Jae-sung looked at him, that man was ready to commit murder. Naomi Park, if you see this, you are so strong. Thank you for surviving. Thousands of comments, overwhelmingly supportive. Stories from other survivors. Messages of solidarity. I feel exposed, Naomi whispered. I know. Jae-sung pulled her close. But you're not alone. Look. He showed her an email from Seoul International Academy, where she taught. Ms. Park, we stand with you. Take all the time you need. Your position is secure, and we're proud to have you on our staff. Another from her friend Minji. Unnie, I'm coming over. You don't have to go through this alone. Another from a women's advocacy organization. Your story is helping other survivors speak up. Would you consider meeting with us? People are listening, Jae-sung said. Your pain is becoming purpose. Naomi leaned against him, overwhelmed but not broken. 1 week later, Damien's public apology video dropped. He looked haggard, broken, sitting in what appeared to be a cheap apartment with peeling wallpaper behind him. I want to apologize to Naomi Park, formerly Naomi Hart. He read from a prepared statement. His voice was flat, defeated. For 2 years, I abused her emotionally and financially. I controlled her, isolated her, and made her believe she was worthless. There is no excuse for my behavior. I'm getting professional help, and will spend the rest of my life trying to make amends. He looked directly at the camera, and Naomi knew Jae-sung had scripted this part specifically. To Mr. Park, I apologize for assaulting your wife. I understand now the magnitude of my actions and accept full responsibility. To the other women I've hurt, I'm sorry. You deserved better. The video ended. Naomi turned off her phone and looked at Jae-sung, who was working on his laptop beside her. It's really over, she said. It's over. He closed the laptop. How do you feel? She considered. Lighter. Like I've been carrying something heavy for years and finally put it down. Good. He pulled her into his lap. You never have to carry anything alone again. Your burdens are mine now. We carry them together. That's not fair to you. Love isn't about fairness. He cupped her face. It's about choice. I choose you, Naomi. Every day. Every moment. I choose you too. They kissed, and Naomi felt the last piece of her broken heart seal closed. 2 months later, Naomi stood outside a newly renovated building in Itaewon, Jae-sung beside her, ribbon-cutting scissors in hand. A crowd had gathered. Press, supporters, survivors, friends. This foundation exists, Naomi said into the microphone, because I lived through financial and emotional abuse. Because I know what it's like to believe you're trapped. But I also know that with support, resources, and community, you can rebuild. You can survive. You can thrive. She looked at Jae-sung, who nodded, encouragingly. The Phoenix Foundation will provide housing, legal support, therapy, and job training for survivors of financial and emotional abuse. No one will have to face this alone. No one will have to sleep in fear. No one will have to believe they're worthless ever again. She cut the ribbon to thunderous applause. The first resident moved in that afternoon. A young woman named Soo Jin, who'd been trapped in an abusive marriage for 5 years. Naomi helped her unpack, shared her story, offered hope. You really came back from all that? Soo Jin asked, tears streaming. I did, Naomi said firmly. And you will too. I promise. That evening, penthouse. Naomi returned home exhausted but fulfilled. Jae-sung had cooked dinner. He'd been taking lessons and was actually getting good, and had candles lit throughout their dining room. How was the first day? He asked, plating bulgogi and banchan. Perfect. Overwhelming but perfect. She sat, accepting food gratefully. We already have applications for next month. We might need to expand. We'll buy another building, he said simply. Whatever you need. She reached across the table for his hand. Have I told you today that I love you? Once or twice, but I never get tired of hearing it. They ate and talked about the foundation's future, about the women they'd help, about the life they were building together. Later, as they prepared for bed, Naomi's phone buzzed. An email from an unknown address. She almost deleted it, but something made her open it. It was from Damien. Her heart stopped. What is it? Jae-sung asked, noticing her expression. Damien emailed me. His expression darkened. What does it say? She read it aloud. Naomi, I know I have no right to contact you, but I saw the news about your foundation. I'm proud of you. You took the worst thing I ever did and turned it into something beautiful. That's who you always were. Someone who found light in darkness. I'm sorry I was too broken to see it. I'm in therapy, really trying to change. I don't expect forgiveness. I don't deserve it. But I wanted you to know. You deserved better than me. I'm glad you found it. I hope you're happy. D. Silence filled the bedroom. How do you feel? Jae-sung asked carefully. Naomi thought about it. A few months ago, seeing Damien's name would have sent her into a panic. Now, reading his words, she felt nothing. No anger. No pain. No satisfaction. Just nothing. I feel free, she said finally. Like that chapter is completely closed. Do you want to respond? No, there's nothing to say. He's my past. You're my future. She deleted the email and set down her phone. Jae-sung pulled her into his arms and she melted into his embrace, feeling safe and whole and loved. I love you, he whispered. My phoenix, my fighter, my everything. I love you too, my protector, my partner, my home. They stood there in their bedroom, soul glittering outside, holding each other and the future they were building. Naomi had been broken, controlled, destroyed, but she'd survived. She'd rebuilt. She'd risen from the ashes. And in rising, she'd found love, purpose, and a power she never knew she possessed. The power to transform pain into hope. Not just for herself, but for every woman who'd walk through the Phoenix Foundation's doors. Damien had forced her to her knees, thinking she was still the broken woman he'd controlled. He couldn't have been more wrong. She was Naomi Park now. Wife to Seoul's underground king, founder of a movement, a survivor who refused to let her story end in tragedy. And as Jae-sung kissed her, deep and sweet and full of promise, she knew this was just the beginning. If you made it to the end of this story, thank you so much for watching. Please don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel for more Afro-Korean romance stories, and comment below, telling me what you thought about Naomi and Jae-sung's love story. What should our next story be about? Let me know in the comments. And remember, you are stronger than you think, and you deserve love that protects, not destroys. Until next time, keep believing in second chances. See you in the next video.